biggest advantage with Andhra Pradesh is the land that we have at our disposal, readily available for allotment. And if you can please notice, it is not concentrated in certain area, but spread across all the districts. So we want an equitable and equal distribution of development all across the states and make use of the mineral wealth which is at the disposal of the state, and ensure that the fruits of development reach each corner of the states, which will be a win-win story for both the investor and the people of Andhra Pradesh who would be working with you. To set the context, the certain incentives that Mr. Eisenhower also was mentioning, this is a snapshot of the industrial policy and the incentives that we have at hand today. If I may mention that the industrial policy is up for revision and the new policy is up for activation in a couple of days. So much before the investor summit, we will be announcing an investment policy, industrial policy. Why I have mentioned these here when there is a new policy coming, just for a perspective that whatever you see here is one of the best which is available in the country, and the policy which is coming up is going to be better than this. Which is just to set that perspective and context. I've just mentioned the incentives which are available for the micro, small, medium, large and mega industries in terms of the stamp duty reimbursements, or the power subsidy reimbursement, or the capital subsidy, or in some certain cases a skill subsidy, training subsidy that we would be having, interest subsidy. Things like this which are really going to come up in the future, and I'll be very glad to present to you in a couple of days. Apart from a generic industrial policy, the industrial policy which is coming up will also be encompassing certain specialty sectors like the few I have mentioned. There will be a retail policy, there will be a bulk drug policy, there will be an IT policy, food processing, textile, export promotion, logistics, electronics, tourism. So there will be all encompassing specialty policies also, which would be coming up under one umbrella industrial policy very soon. Certain strengths that I've already mentioned, but I'll take you through for the interest of retention. The robust infrastructure, that industrial infrastructure that we've had, about 50,000 acres of readily allotable land available with us, with strong logistical infrastructure, which is again reflected through the award that we've recently gotten as the top achiever in logistical ease as per the Leeds Report 22. The industry-ready skilled workforce, it will be discussed in a little bit of a detail in further presentations. The raw material availability, we are the home for 48 rich minerals and the various raw materials which would be a treasure bowl, I would say, and the low cost of business. While we've been mentioning about the ease of doing business, I want to really take to your attention that we are not far behind in the low cost of business, which would be a very formidable combination. The quality of water and power availability and the strategic location, we tout ourselves to be the gateway to the South Asia and Southeast Asia both. And the conducive business environment, which is backed by a stable government, is again, I would say, our better strength, which I want to present to you in this slide. The opportunities are huge, as has been mentioned in the introduction. For the sake of the summit, we have chosen 14 sectors to focus on, which certain sectors will be presented to you today at length. There are other sectors that I will want to briefly mention. In addition to the sectors which will be presented to you, are the electronics sector. The strengths and the opportunities are abundant, and the marquee investments that I've put on the slide talks for itself, how the ground has been prepared for much more investment and opportunity and working together in this sector of electronics. Agro and food processing, we have been traditionally an agro-based state, and we really want to work on that and take it to the next level by adding food processing into our forte. So we've already started to work on that. Again, the marquee investments show to the fact that we're not limiting ourselves to be a producer of agro-based products, but going into the processing as well. The pharmaceuticals, Andhra Pradesh has always been the pharma hub in the country, and in the COVID times, it is all for all of us to see how Andhra Pradesh and the pharma sector, which is working with us, has come to the rescue of the entire country in providing the medicines and the medical devices on time, where times, you know, all of us know better how those times demanded of us to really scale up the production at a very short time, and Andhra Pradesh proudly had come to the rescue of the country, and which is what we want to build further on. The petroleum and petrochemicals is an upcoming sector for us. We already have the KG basin, but we want to really work on certain specialty petrochemicals. Certain work has already been done. There is an opportunity to work together there. The industrial and logistic infrastructure, I have said in my beginning that we want to tout ourselves and turn ourselves into a logistical marvel and make use of our inherent geographical strengths, which is where we are working with multimodal logistic parks, both from the PPP sector and from the government sector. Few of the already existing logistical infrastructure has been presented to you in the slide. Automobiles and EVs. The future of automobiles is electrical vehicles, which is why we want to really work together in the EV
raw materials would be through the RBKs and the farmers. Moving forward, these 26 food processing units will be set up, one in each district. And this will be developed in 2 phases. In phase 1, we are doing around 10 food processing units, which includes 13 millet processing units. And these food processing units are being constructed as per the raw material availability. For example, we have a lot of tomato raw material availability like in a place like Nandyal. So there we are establishing this tomato food processing unit, and banana in Kadapa, and so on. So moving forward, as Srijana ma'am has rightly mentioned, that the state of Andhra Pradesh, the industrial and the food processing policy is being envisaged with great incentives, and also the customized incentives are again coming forward for the mega and medium industries. And we all know that Andhra Pradesh stand number 1 consecutively for the 3rd year in ease of doing business, with approvals on land and developing industries envisaged in its policy. And we have around as many as 12 food parks in Andhra Pradesh, and out of which 5 are the mega food parks. And going forward, these are some of the marquee investments in the sector, such as ITC, Mondelez, Parley, Kellogg's, Tata, etc. And through this, I like to conclude my presentation, and I would welcome you all to visit Andhra Pradesh and your investment prospects in our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. And if at all you're looking to register yourself, you can always do that on www.advantageap.in. Kindly register yourself for different kind of meetings and collaborations with the government of Andhra Pradesh. And you also have a QR code outside for you to download the e-brochure of the Global Investor Summit. To further understand and retain the information shared by Rahul, we will now all watch a small AV on the food processing sector, which gives us a clarity furthermore on the state and its opportunities in the food processing. you very much. The entire civilization was always around ports. And history has repeatedly proven that trade and commerce activities are immensely active again around ports. It's no wonder that the nations with the busiest ports are among the wealthiest too. Our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Y.S. Jagannath Reddy Garu, strongly believes in port-led industrial and infrastructure development. Hence, to the existing 6 ports that we have, we already have envisioned and commissioned to add 4 more new ports. To further elaborate on the same, let me welcome Lieutenant Commander Shri Ravindranath Reddy, Deputy CEO, AP Maritime Board, to take us through the journey of the ports and what the state has got to offer us. Let's all welcome him with a big round of applause.
Good morning, and ellarku vanakkam. Unfortunately, my linguistic talent in Tamil is limited to this. However, my respect and admiration to the entrepreneurial talent and industry of Tamil Nadu is unlimited. We always had respect for Tamil Nadu, and it is not without reason that you rank very high amongst the top GDP of the country, the state GDPs, and you are the most urbanized state, and you are more or less most industrialized state. The humility and perseverance and hard work of Tamilians is definitely. And I would say it is a collection of the letter P. He had said, we got the place for you, that is the land available, it is there. We got the people, skilled manpower is available. We got the power, electricity is abundantly available. And we got pani also. We got a lot of water. And then, as many of my speakers before me and after me would tell you, we got a robust policy also. The framework of policy for industrialization is, you can imagine that we are considerably and consistently being ranked as the #1 in ease of doing business. That's all due to the policy framework that our Chief Minister and our honorable ministers are framing for and giving direction to the state government to take it. Now, to all this piece, I would also add, we got one more P now. We got more ports also. Right. With all these ports, the policy, the people, the place, the pani, the only one ingredient which is missing, that is paisa. So we are all looking at you to come with your money. Please come to Andhra Pradesh to put your investments. We are there to welcome you, and we will take care of your investments as if they are our own. You may have noticed, now coming back to my core domain, the sea. Sea always gives back whatever you give it. You throw a bottle into it, it throws it back right at you. I would like to take that analogy and tell you, come and invest on the maritime sector in Andhra Pradesh. Get all of your mudra, the money, and put into our samudra, and it is going to pay you back. I can assure you, with all the infrastructure that we are creating in the ports and fishing harbors, there are a lot of opportunities which you can explore and exploit And we are there to support you all the way and all along. Now, to show you what is the infrastructure that we are creating, I would like to take you through a little presentation which has just about 3 or 4 slides, where I can enlist all the infrastructure. Please take note who are all the entrepreneurs from the maritime sector, and also industrialists whose industry or whose projects are very cargo intensive. Because we are not looking at ports as just a terminal, as just a facilitation point, as a transit point. Now the paradigm of ports has changed universally, and the port is no more a kind of a collection of berths. It is an industrial complex in itself, and we are willing and trying to create that paradigm in Andhra Pradesh. So we are having a lot of land attached to each of these ports, ranging between 5,000 to 10,000 acres, readily available. And any industry which is cargo intensive, that is, which uses a lot of logistics, please look at the ports to establish a project nearby. There are facilities, the policy is very conducive, the industrial policy per se, as well as the port policy. It is very helpful. So I will take you through the presentation where we showcase our existing ports as well as the upcoming ports and their characteristics. And you can note down so that if you are interested in any of these things, you may plan your investments there. As you can see, Andhra Pradesh has always been consistently ranked on top for the throughput which our ports are already doing. We have one major port in Visakhapatnam, as you all know. Secondly, we have 3 state ports which are technically called minor ports. They are not minor. They are deep draft ports. And one operating at the southern part of Andhra Pradesh, very near to Chennai, that is Krishnapatnam. Second is at Kakinada, deep water port. And the third is Gangavaram, which is right next to Visakhapatnam. These are the existing ports, and they're doing very well. Now we are creating 4 more ports, 3 in the public sector, that's the government sector, and 1 in the private sector. These are the new ports which are coming. The first one is Ramayapatnam, which is slightly ahead of Krishnapatnam, north of Krishnapatnam. And next is Machilipatnam, which is quite near to Vijayawada. Then we have Bhavanapadu, which is in the northernmost part of district of Andhra Pradesh, that is Srikakulam. Each of these ports has strategic advantages, geostrategic advantages. And with the changing geopolitical scenario in the world, and we are looking at a lot of liquid cargo going to flow from the eastern part of one of the biggest countries, exporters of liquid cargo and POL, which will give the east coast of India an advantage. Definitely, you're also on the east coast, so you might be thinking, why should we come to Andhra Pradesh? Now let me tell you, Andhra Pradesh is much nearer than Tamil Nadu to the center of India. So you will be covering a lot of distance on land instead of land by sea, and therefore it can add some advantage for anybody who's thinking of doing business with the main hinterland of India. So we would like to have a look at you to have a look at this, where the Bhavanapadu port and the Kakinada and etc., they're very near to the central and northern hinterland of India. Look at it at that angle. Then there is one SEZ port which is coming up in Kakinada, in addition to the existing port, which is a private entity who is developing this, but he is also developing a deep water port. Now let me add one more thing here. As you can see in that table, the depth available is something which I would like you to make note of. Anybody in the maritime field will understand the basic problem that Indian ports are facing is about depth available. The average depth is about 13 meters in the national average. Whereas, as you can see, the average depth of ports in Andhra Pradesh is nearing 16 to 17. Now, this is a paradigm which is going to help the new paradigm of large vessels, larger and larger vessels which are taking to the seas, and therefore decreasing the cost of logistics. So Tomorrow, any industrialist who's having his eye on cutting down costs on logistics, he will have to be nearer a port which has got larger depth and therefore can invite deep draft vessels. We are there with all the draft available and depth available right in front of you. Please make note of it. And like I said, each of them has certain parcel of lands attached to it as a core port area as well as port proximal area. So we are looking at port-led industrialization, as speakers before me have told you, that port-led industrialization is a core thrust area for our government. As you can see, the way we had invested in the infrastructure, no other state in this country is even building a port right now. We are building 3 of them. That's a bold decision our dynamic chief minister has taken, and we intend to follow through, all of us here. Right. Now I've given you the infrastructure we are creating about the ports, and I'd just like to take you through, most of you know already what a port ensues, and I'll just tell you what all the industries that can benefit from this. As you can see, a lot of industries which are core shipping industries like shipbuilding, ship repair, etc., ship logistics. We are looking at a lot of logistics parks, multimodal logistic parks to support our ports. So there is a scope for large logistic companies to set up shop in Andhra Pradesh. Then we have green energy, of course, as we are talking about in other sectors also. We are looking for developing a lot of green energy on the marine sector too. Marine sector has a specific advantage in the green energy production area, as you may know. Offshore wind energy is one of them, tidal energy is one of them, and what have you. Any of these ideas, green hydrogen is definitely there. We are looking at it along with our energy department. Operated from there. Now we are building 9 fishing harbors, and make a note of it, all of them with proper breakwaters and dredging and dredge channel to accommodate deeper draft fishing vessels, and in times to come, maybe we can accommodate coastal shipping, coastal runners also in these fishing harbors. So 9 of them are being developed, and this is going to enhance our sea catching, the catch from the sea. We are already number 1 in aquaculture. We would like to increase our sea catch also, and thereby increasing the total available aqua produce, raw produce, as the maximum in the country. Along with that, now let me also tell you one more opportunity here for entrepreneurs who are in the aqua field. Every fishing harbor is going to be having a space around 50 acres to 60 acres attached to it, and we call it an integrated food park. So this is going to leverage the sea catch as well as the local aquaculture produce, and we are giving it for a development of private entrepreneurs. And we had, you can contact us, anybody in the aqua field, for interest. If you have interest in this field, please do contact us. We will help you with the details. And again, the same thing about the opportunities in these fishing economic zones. I will not dwell on it. And these are the contact numbers which you can contact for any of these requirements. And therefore, we will help you with any support that you require till you can ground your investment as well as take it forward and help you with all through your cycle there. And one thing I would like, lastly, I would like to add about our shared maritime histories and traditions, what Dr. Srijana has told you. I will not touch upon it, and the cultural similarities, language, etc. What I would like to tell you is, when we separated from Tamil Nadu, the erstwhile Madras state, that was Andhra Pradesh 1.0. When we separated, and we were there with the Telangana, and together we were Andhra Pradesh 2.0. And today, as we bifurcated, we are Andhra Pradesh 3.0. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you, we are raring to go. So please do come to Andhra Pradesh. This is a different Andhra Pradesh. Approach us. We are there to look after your interests. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. No wonder the state has bagged the Outstanding Contributor Award in Port-led Infrastructure Projects ET22. To further witness the developmental activities that are happening at a lightning speed and overall port-led economic development, let's all watch an AV on the ports. With two good examples right in front of us, be it Mr. Sundar Pichai from Madurai or Mr. Satya Nadella from Andhra Pradesh, both the states very competitively produce some of the finest engineers and contributed to the corporate leaders to the world. Let me also tell you that 25% of IT workforce and Indians in the US are from Telugu-speaking community. Apart from such talented workforce, the state also has a well-integrated electronics manufacturing clusters with complete value chain rightly integrated. With 3.5 million phones produced every month, that translates to one mobile phone per second. contributing to 10% of national electronics production and 5% to the nation's electronics exports, the state of Andhra Pradesh is the best investment hub for IT and electronics. Electronics and IT sector continues to transform lives, businesses, and economies across the globe and continues to be the focus sector of the government too. To know more about the state's approach through these electronic manufacturing clusters and its ambition to be the state of destination and hub for IT and electronics, let's hear it from the man himself, Shri Saurabh Gaur, IAS, Secretary, IT, Electronics and Communication, Skill Development and Training Department, for his insights on the opportunities in the state of Andhra Pradesh in the electronics and IT sector. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. Honorable Minister, my colleagues from the government and industry champions, it is a matter of proud privilege for me to be presenting the most valuable sector, that is electronics and IT sector, and the opportunities that you will find in engaging with the sector in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So while my colleague Rajiv has given a great introduction, and the earlier speaker, Ravindranath Garu, he spoke about paisa and money and 5 Ps, I believe he meant value. And value is what, apart from the money and the investment that has to come, I believe we would want to invite you to the most valuable sector today. Look at the companies around you, and you'll find that the biggest companies today are the companies that are in tech. And that is where I think Andhra Pradesh also has a great play. If the country has to become a $5 trillion economy, if the country's digital economy has to become $1 trillion, we in Andhra Pradesh strongly believe that 10% of that digital economy will be from the state of Andhra Pradesh. And we have very good reason. Is very well poised to take lead in that, with our cities such as Visakhapatnam, Tirupati, and the other cities that are making a huge stake, cities such as Kurnool, Ongole, Anantapur, Nellore, and so on and so forth, Vijayawada, Guntur. All of these cities have seen a spurt in IT and IT-enabled services and the overall digital services and product economy taking huge shape in the country, in the state, and all these companies that are here, these are testimonies to this fact. We have a strong set of policies to support IT sector in Andhra Pradesh, ranging from employment remunerations for employment generation, depending on the nature of skill sets that are being brought for every employee for a period of 1 year. There are kind of employment subsidies that are made available. Especially during the COVID time, we had work from home policies also, where we provided support for people who were working from home. So all these, the policy in detail is available, and we have set up a stall outside, and the engagement agency, EPITA, the volunteers available there to help you understand the policies much better. I'll not spend much time on it because to me, IT companies, more than the policy, it is an ecosystem that drives the investments there, and that is what we take pride in. Apart from the fact that there's a huge amount of land bank also that is available, and let me directly take you to the land bank, the IT parks that are there. So apart from the existing Seven Hills ecosystem in Visakhapatnam, where we have the Millennium Park, we have the Seven Hills that are dedicated for IT space, we have a lot of data center activity also happening there. The fact that there is going to be undersea cable termination in near time in Visakhapatnam, and lot of innovation activities happening there. So to build upon that, in the Greenfield Airport that we are going to have in Bhogapuram, we have identified land and earmarked it for IT park. So in another 2 to 3 years, I believe this is something of the likes that you see in other places, other parts of the country. We'll have a very strong, vibrant IT park coming out at Bhogapuram. Next to that, we have in Tirupati, also not very far from the airport that is there. There is a IT park that is already coming up in Pallam. It is on 25 kilometers from Tirupati airport. And it is here again, we already have a lot of investor interest coming up. The fact remains that today in Visakhapatnam, we are short of IT, ready to occupy IT infrastructure. So we have lots of inquiries coming up. And that is where we are collaborating usually with the private sector also, with the developers also, and saying that, look, these kind of investor inquiries are there, and how quickly can we turn it up? And how quickly can we make more and more infrastructure available? And with a 4 or 5 year horizon, we are preparing all these IT parks, all very strategically located, where I believe there is a lot of opportunity that is coming up. So Pallam in Tirupati is the next one. We actually have videos in all of that, and we are in the process of setting up digital twins also, so that you can have an immersive experience in terms of how these parks are going to be like, the rendered images, and also the existing development that is happening, so that one can, sitting wherever one is, understand how the park development is happening. There is another park within the Tirupati Tuda township where actually mixed-use development is happening. So residential facilities are coming up, and we have earmarked 25 acres of land for a mini IT park with a structure that is going to come out, a marquee structure that will come out there. Then on the Andhra Pradesh-Karnataka border, not very far from from Bengaluru airport also, an hour and a half drive, in Teklodu, we have an IT park which has been proposed, for which land also has been acquired. So it is looking at IT and niche IT products. For example, if a lot of semiconductor design companies that are there, they would want to come and set up space there. Similarly, in the drone and robotic process, the human-computer interface ecosystem also, we look at this as our park to propagate this kind of ecosystem. There's another IT park not very far from Teklodu. It is in Kapalbanda, where again we are proposing IT development activities. And we are happy to engage with you, understand your specific needs, while we provide the general infrastructure in terms of power connectivity, in terms of water availability, excellent connectivity. These are all adjacent to national highways, so that connectivity is not an issue. But also other needs, the hygiene requirements that are there for an IT park to flourish. We will be happy to bring all of that together for you. And we have videos on all of them. While there will be a sector video at the end of this, but we have videos on all of them available, and during the lunch time and otherwise we'll be playing those videos also, so you get a hang of what is it that we are talking about. Now the electronic sector, my friend talked about Andhra Pradesh producing 1 mobile phone every second. To me, it's not much actually. We are looking at, today in the country, there are almost, to my understanding, we make around 220 million to 230 million mobile phones every year. By 2027, we will be making 1 billion mobile phones every year in the country. In Andhra Pradesh alone, we want to be making 250 mobile phones every year. So mobile phone is a huge growth segment for us, and we have the ecosystem to back it up. In electronics manufacturing clusters, of the 20 electronic manufacturing clusters that were sanctioned by Government of India, 4 were sanctioned to Andhra Pradesh. So we have 4 very good electronic manufacturing clusters, established clusters that have come up, where 50-50 partnership between center and state is there. And that is something that rivals, if not betters, I not say betters, the ecosystem that you have in Shri Paramdur, or the ecosystem that's there in Hosur, or so on and so forth. So electronic sector in Andhra Pradesh, this is a glimpse of that. So, but I'll go to each of the clusters. But before that, let me talk about the fiscal incentives. In electronics, we have clear-cut capital incentives that are available. So ranging from 20% capex incentives with certain limitations also. But strong capital incentives and very well neatly laid out capital incentives also. So it doesn't take any time in processing them. Apart from that, land is available, developed by Andhra Pradesh Industrial Infrastructure Corporation. Land subsidies in terms of stamp duties waiver are available. And apart from that, power is available at a very discounted rate. So we have two zones. Zone A is Tirupati and the associated ecosystem. Zone B is the newest electronic manufacturing cluster. In Zone B in Tirupati, in Kadapa, Koparthi, that is where, if you had followed, not very far from there, we had the steel plant inauguration also. Then we will soon have the biggest CCTV manufacturing factory in the entire country also. Almost 5 million CCTVs per year being manufactured there. That is coming up there. So here we provide power at 4.5 rupees per unit. We also provide here capital subsidies which are slightly of a higher magnitude. The land is also available here only presently at 12 lakh rupees per acre. The ready-built factory sheds are available here at ranging from 10 rupees to 15 rupees per SFT per month. So it is a really attractive package that is made available here. On top of that, there is production-linked incentive scheme also, which is made available in the YSR EMC in Kadapa, Koparthi. And this is also 5 kilometers from the Kadapa airport, which is a greenfield airport under Udan, but which is only going to go bigger and better because we have the electronics cluster, we have the pharma cluster, textile cluster, steel factories, and lots of other associated developments coming up there. So this is the PLI that is offered at YSR EMC, the electronic manufacturing cluster, where at 100% of the fixed capital investment spread over 10 years, we start giving you production and incentives ranging from 5% every year on the production value going up to 1%. So whichever companies are getting Government of India PLI, they are automatically eligible here. Companies that are not getting Government of India PLI scheme also, whether you are engaged in air conditioners or CCTVs or smart meters or components or any other electronic and telecom device, and we have a fairly liberal definition of that. We are happy to bring you to Andhra Pradesh, to Koparthi, and offer you production and incentive scheme also. So these are the clusters. This is EMC Tirupati 1. This is where we have Dixon, we have Munhoth, which has set up the first battery manufacturing plant in the country. And it's not battery assembly, it is from cell upwards that even cell manufacturing also is happening there. So almost 2 gigawatt energy battery manufacturing unit has been set up there in Tirupati. And then we have now Neolink also manufacturing the mobile and the customer premises equipment devices for Reliance and also for a couple of other players also. We have HKC, Resolute, and so on and so forth. And we look at some of the other players also coming here. This is the EMC Tirupati 2, which is where we have the Chinese majors like Wingtech, TCL, TTE. The biggest display plant in the country is in Tirupati. For the television screens display, the mobile display, and soon we will have further value addition, pure cell manufacturing also happening here. So we have Wingtech, TCL, and we are looking at Napino and VVD, and these are the other investor interests we are looking at. Dixon has a very big go here, and then the camera module company, not to forget, Sunny Opotech, which manufactures camera modules for almost all mobile manufacturing companies. So as you see, the value system is going deeper into that. From the mobile phone assembly and the television assembly, now we have the mechanics, we have the optical modules, we have the printed circuit board assembly, we have the display, and so on and so forth. Soon we'll have capacitors, resistors, active and passive devices also coming to Andhra Pradesh. And we already have a few actually. Then this is the Kadapa cluster that I talked about, where the biggest CCTV manufacturing company is already, it should be inaugurated soon, which is again AIL Dixon. And then we have companies coming up in IoT space here, also in optical fibers and in smart TVs and television manufacturing. So I think this is our cluster for consumer electronics and so on and so forth. And then the Sri City EMC, I'll not talk about it. The champion himself is here, Mr. Ravi Sana Reddy, who has set up a fabulous ecosystem, and electronics manufacturing cluster is only a part of it. But here again, we have lots of air conditioning. So 9 out of 16 air conditioner manufacturing companies that got production and incentive from Government of India, 9 of them have come to Sri City. So that speaks a lot about the fact that Sri City will become 50 to 60% of air conditioners make in India, make for the world, will be happening here. And this is not, even the industrial air conditioners also are coming there. Then there is a great opportunity coming up in Kosalanagaram, which is 40 kilometers from Chennai, where we are sitting today, or from the airport, right on the border in Tirupati district or Chittoor district, from what I understand, where again beautiful, it is, one has to see it to believe it, located in very beautiful climbs with a lake, a hill, and connectivity to the national highway. I think that's another place that has a huge future ahead. We have APITA, Andhra Pradesh Electronics and IT Agency, as our nodal agency. APITA has set up a stall outside. We have the draft MOUs also available with us, and also the fact that if you have to do a registration on the portal, I'll be available outside after the meeting, and we'll be happy to take investor queries there. So thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to your participation in the electronics and IT system. And not to forget the drones and emerging technologies sector also, where I believe we'll be having further discussions later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for such energetic and passionate presentation on IT and electronics. The state, apart from being #1 in horticulture, it is also among the largest producer of cotton, second largest producer of raw silk, and stands fourth in jute production in India. The state is right now focusing on further enhancing the ginning, spinning, and processing units. With raw materials easily accessible and processing units being the focus of the government, the state is going to be the best ideal location for investments in textiles and apparels. To further understand the opportunities and the ecosystem in detail, join me in welcoming Srimati K. Sunita IAS Garu, Principal Secretary, Handlooms and Textiles, for her presentation on this particular sector. Welcome, ma'am.
Respected Minister for Finance, Planning, Commercial Taxes, Legislative Affairs, Skill Development and Training, Shri Buggana Rajendranath Garu. Secretary IT, Saurabh Gaur. Srijna Gumala, Director Industries. Past Chairman CII, Mr. Ethan Hover. Sannareddy, MP Sri City. Vanka Ravindranath Garu, Chairman MSME Development Corporation, and all the distinguished guests today. Good morning. The textile sector is something which sounds non-serious, but one should understand how important it is, because I think it's one thing which we can't afford to neglect. No matter we have our food or anything else, clothes are a necessity. And that's what defines a person, whether it's a South Indian, North Indian, American. The way one dresses always reflects the traditions or the culture of the person and the mood of the person, or what the person is trying to project himself to be. A serious executive or a teenager with his own casual style, or a pretty model. The person defines himself through his clothes, and that's why textiles is very important. And textiles is important both for Tamil Nadu and Andhra, because I think we not only have the textiles in terms of today's modern factories and other things, but we always had our privileged handlooms, whether it's the Kanjivaram of Tamil Nadu or the Uppada or Venkatgiri or Dharmavaram of AP. In North India, they're very famous and they're really appreciated well. Textiles approximately cover about 2% of India's GDP. We are 18.2% of the manufacturing sector, and the share in exports is around 11.4%. India holds 4% of the global trade in textiles, and textiles is the second largest employer after agriculture, providing direct employment to about 45 million people and 100 million people in the allied industries. The Indian exports to textiles are expected to reach $100 billion in the next 5 years, growing at a CAGR of 11%. Unlike other industries where normally around 12 jobs is generated per industry, the textile sector generates around 30 jobs. And in the garmenting section alone, they generate around 70 jobs or more than that. And another important part of this textile sector, as all of you all know, is that this is the area where most of the women, more than 70% are women. This is a sector which really cherishes women, and it is very important for us. In the textile ecosystem in Andhra, we have ready-made and technical textiles in Visakhapatnam, Anakapalli, weaving, processing and made-ups in Prakasham and Bapatla, ready-made garments in Anantapur, Kadapa, Kurnool, weaving, processing and ready-made garments in Chittoor and Nellore. We have around 10 textile parks. 6 of them are owned by the government and 4 of them are owned by the private sector. This map generally shows you the kind of distance which is there from Chennai to each of these parks. Just to highlight that after we bifurcated from Chennai, we still are very close to you in terms of distance, the borders and the textile parks. Venkatagiri, Sri City is just 75 kilometers. I'm sure many of you all would have been there. Venkatagiri Textile Park 146, Tarakeshwar Textile Park 82 kilometers, Maas is 146 and Chirala Handloom is 360 kilometers and so on and so forth. So we have a lot of textile park areas available, and India is the 6th largest producer AP is the 6th largest producer of cotton. We produce around 17.08 lakh bales of cotton, and this is produced mostly in 10 districts. We are the 7th largest producer in jute, and we produce around 10.4 thousand bales with the 13 jute mills in the state, mostly in Vijayanagaram and Srikakulam. We are the 2nd largest producer of silk. Dharmavaram and Venkatagiri are the main areas that's been producing silk. Advantage, but in terms of the business, I think it is an advantage to look for cost of the production, and then this becomes a part of that calculation. The marquee investors in the sector are, for technical textiles, we have Torre, we have TJ for weft-knit products, Unicharm and Precot for medical textiles, Aditya Birla, Loyal Textiles for integrated textiles, and Brandix Shahi Texport, Volta for apparel. And for yarn, Andhra was very famous for yarn earlier. Kallam, Idulpadu, Vasanta, Jyotirmai, Amravati, Indu Textiles, Swarnalata, Super Spinning Mills are all present. These are the marquee investors in our state. And just to give you a glimpse of what we have in the handlooms heritage, most of you all would remember that when the East India Company came down to India, they had also set up a lot of units near Machilipatnam, where we used to make this sari which could be fit into a small matchbox. And today also, though all the travails of modern industry, colonization, and the youth moving away from the traditional attire is still there, but still we have retained about 35 varieties of handloom products. Many of you all would be hearing about these things, like we have the Dharmavaram, Venkatagiri, Uppada, Mangalagiri, then the Srikakulam Khadi, and so on and so forth. We have around 1,77,447 weavers, which is around 5% of the Indian weavers working on these handlooms. There are 482 primary cooperative societies, and we have 6 handlooms which are GI tagged. They are again Mangalagiri, Uppada, Jamdani, Dharmavaram silk sarees and powders, Sri Kalahasti Kalamkari, Venkatagiri sarees, Pedan Kalamkari, and the opportunities and strengths of our textile sector. I think when I speak to my Tamil brothers here, I would like to say that our posts are very near to, our textile parks are very near. We are separated by a border, and based on the past experiences of sharing our state, culture, the dance forms, the music forms, the actors, actresses, sometimes even the politicians, we all have always been working together. And today, we have a lot of Telugu diaspora in Tamil Nadu here who have done a lot to the state. I'm sure after having developed Tamil Nadu so much, they would also like to look at their own state and do something for the investments there. And if you compare the distances of the textile parks from Chennai to the textile parks in Tamil Nadu, you have Periyar, I'm sorry, Anna Handloom Silk Park in Kanchipuram. I wouldn't know how to pronounce this, but yeah, this is 84 kilometers and that's the nearest. And whereas I would say Sri City is even nearer with around 75 kilometers. The next one is again Seema Textile Processing Center in Kadalur, which is 189 kilometers. But we have other textile parks in Andhra which are much nearer, like the Venkatagiri is 146, Tarakeshwar 82, Maas 146, and so on and so forth. There is a lot of land available in our textile parks with an option of plug and play in around 2,411 acres. We have private parks with 1180 acres, government-owned textile parks with 1231 acres, and in addition to the APIC parks with 14,184 acres. We have given special emphasis to MSME textile units, and there are a lot of MSME textile units in our Andhra which are doing well. We have also trained skill and development centers, and our finance minister here is also, incidentally, the skill minister. So he has made some of our textile units in such a way that we train the students in textile stitching, in Juki machines and other things, and then supply them to the parks. So we tried this out in Gajuwaka in Vizag, and it was a success, and now we are going to do it in Raidurg and other areas also. We also have this, a very, I would say, something unique to Andhra is the huge Jagananna housing colonies, where we have around 53 layouts which have more than 2,000 plots. In these plots, you have so much of labor available that it would be a very nice way of having a walk-to-work concept by developing a garmenting factory there. So there is a lot of land available, and we are willing to look at any investor who would want to come here and start garment units in these Jagananna housing colonies. Sri City also, as you know, is a green and orange park. So we have a lot of land available there. Around 1,000 acres is there. So there also you can, start any of the textile things. Our scope for future investments is the green integrated parks. Then we have mega clustered development. We had parks like Brandex, Sri City and other places which are there, and we would like to invite more investments in this sector. We also have a scope for export-oriented units. The textile exports for India stood at $33 billion, of which AP's share is only $417 million. So the government intends to expand its export market in textile and encourage those units which are export-oriented. We also have a scope for a niche product segment. We could look at organic product of from cotton to the cloth. And there is a lot of, 1/3 of the agriculture area in Andhra is organic. We do natural farming there. So there is scope for that. I know there are a lot of Western countries in Europe and other places which actually look forward for organic garments, and there is scope for this. Already some textile parks like Mohan Spintex and others have been doing it, and there is more, there's room for more. We also could have a kind of variety where we mix the organic cotton and the handloom cotton like Mangalgiri loom fabrics, Pulagutta fabrics, Isukupalli for home furnishing, Kalamkari handlooms, and evolve them into kind of fusion garment, where you have probably a kalamkari with our lace and also, produce it in such a way that it actually is very good for the export market. We also have Dupion silk for home furnishing, which is very good and generally appreciated. It has adorned the halls of the White House and the French President's House because of the sheer quality and the richness of the fabric. We also have a segment, sunrise segment of technical textiles. You all know about the Medtech zone in Andhra. We also have the about 15 technical textiles in Andhra Pradesh. Global players like Torre and Grasim and other places. There are 3 industrial corridors and there's port-led industrialization. And for all these sectors, we could have a tailor-made incentives extended to anybody who's interested in them. We also have a snapshot of Brandix here. This is a 1,000-acre textile park, and there's still 400 acres available. There's connectivity to Gangavaram port. There is water capacity installed of 20 milliliters per million liters per day. And we have an ETP there with an installed capacity of 22 million liters per day and power with 200 megawatt capacity connected to the national grid. This is done